This is the Marketing Agency Power Hour, and I'm your host, Cal Wilder. Each week, we'll power through discussions on business challenges, success stories, and game-changing strategies. This show is sponsored by SmartBooks, provider of bookkeeping and accounting for marketing agencies. Let's get started. So I'm really excited to talk to today's guest. He's a marketing leader, he's a thought leader, he's a strategic investor, and an agency growth catalyst, and a speaker. Does a lot of things. He's a creative strategist who built a multi-seven-figure agency that helps businesses see their potential in an ever-growing digital landscape. He's recognized as one of the 40 under 40 from the Providence Business News. He's the founder and lead strategist at Figmints Digital Creative Marketing. James Kwon, welcome to the show.
Hey, Cal. Thanks so much for having me. I hope to live up to at least half of that.
I'm sure you will. And I know we're going to talk about a few things.
Yeah.
You know, you've developed a financial strategy to manage your firm, and you advise other firms on that as well. But I'm also interested in learning more about your own agency. So what is the single most powerful strategy for success in your marketing agency these days?
Oh, man. The absolute most impactful thing that we've done in the last, I'm going to say 10 years of our 15 years in being in business has been our slices system. So slices is a methodology that we've created, I've created, and really born from lots of different philosophies, but one of the main ones, profit first, is a model that we appreciate, really like. Michael McCallitz, I think, did a great job kind of walking through being able to carve up profit out of the revenue that you get right away. I don't like the, Cal, you and I have had some background discussions about this, but I don't love all these kind of weird accounts that you have to open and move things around. But the principle of it, I think, is really good. Also, envelope budgeting, the idea that you have 100%, you can't have more than 100% to give away. So being able to slice up a project and all the revenue into giving those slices, those percentages a job, giving them a place to go, and making sure that we're rewarding and incentivizing the right stuff.
Yeah.
So this has been transformational as a compensation tool, as a growth tool, profit tool. And now, as we think about acquisitions, we've been pretty acquisitive in the last few years, having done a couple acquisitions and then now looking to do a few more. This has been a pretty awesome model for us to think through the structure of acquisitions and how we partner.
So you and I know a lot about profit first and the slices model, but that may be new to the audience. So maybe we can walk
Sure.
through what the model is. And I know you alluded to, maybe I'm not a big fan of all these bank accounts, but that you might need to open if you're a strict adherent to the profit first methodology. But why don't
Sure.
you walk us through, like, what's this concept that you built your agency around with slices?
Sure. Well, I can tell you the story comes from a place of pain. As about a decade ago, we were still on this very hourly model, and everything that we did was on the billable hour. And so we had this target weekly billable dollar amount that we needed to hit, and that dollar figure basically was people tracking their time and reporting it as billable, which you can almost hear as I say it. There's some brokenness in that, because we're trusting that people are not only reporting that accurately themselves, but also tracking that towards something that actually is going to get paid. And so, because everything was focused on this this weekly billable amount. So let's call it $50,000. So if we were trying to bill $50,000 every single week, we needed to invoice $50,000 every single week. We needed to sell, whatever our closing rate, 3 to 4x of $50,000 every week. We needed to have enough people to be able to do that much work. So it became that one KPI, that one metric that we would follow. And then lo and behold, when we would do we would even celebrate if we hit that number. We would buy lunch for the team, and um, lo and behold, the next quarter we would find out, hey, out of the last 13 weeks, there were only 5 of those weeks where we actually got paid the amount or more of the billable hours that we worked. Every other the rest of the, 7, 8 weeks, we we hit that number. We may have hit that number or gotten close, but we were actually tracking towards things that we weren't gonna collect. And so, we just realized very quickly that this was a completely broken system. And so, um, Michael McCallits in the book Profit First would say, if you're struggling with running a professional service firm and you're finding yourself, at the end of every quarter, or the end of every month, just not having enough money, it's because you haven't paid yourself first. And so that principle of when the revenue comes in, pay yourself first, make sure you have the profit margin. In fact, he would go so far as to say, open a different account, move the money into that different account, reserve it there, and then operate on the rest of it. And I think that's a good principle to have, but I would go even further in breaking down what's reserved or what's left over into more specific buckets like lead generation, sales, account management, strategy, et cetera.
So how did you make the transition? Like, how long ago was it when you tried to adopt this methodology? And I can only imagine it's kind of a painful transition. All right. Because in theory,
Yeah.
you have a certain profit margin if you move the money, but you don't actually have that margin, then you come up short. So you got to pay the
Yeah.
bills
We
somehow. So how did that transition happen? Sure.
Yeah, so we've struggled with this and realized that this was it was an eye-opening event when we realized this about 8 or 10 years ago now. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, right around COVID, we made the decision to start different business units. We had a couple different business units of the agency. So we left the classic agency kind of running the way that we were used to running it. And we had this opportunity basically to start fresh and start this new idea around slices with the subsidiary that we had inside the agency. Basically, our agency, we at Figmints, we started getting better and better, and we started charging more and more. And the team started to not like working on smaller projects. And so the team would basically say to me, James, we can't do projects for less than 10K anymore, or whatever the number was. I think it was 15 at the time. So we can't do projects for less than 15. That really broke my heart because I like working with small businesses. I wanted to say yes more, to these businesses. And so it lasted about 2 months of me saying no to these small businesses. And finally it just broke and I said, you know what? I'm going to say yes. And I'm just not going to put this burden on the team. I'm going to find a separate team. I'm going to find a different way that we can execute on these projects. And so basically brought on a small team of subcontractors at the time, created the slices methodology and said, hey, will you do this project for this fulfillment fee? The answer was yes. Basically just kept giving them these projects. And that became a very successful, successful arrangement, not just for us, but for those subcontractors. They were able to make way more than we would have normally paid, a regular designer,
So
a
you
regular
went to
account.
subcontractors and you said, hey, I'm going to sign up a $10,000 project. I'm going to pay you 50% of that revenue, whatever the percentage was.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and you're going to do a great job. And it worked out. It's like a win-win-win.
Win, win, win. Yeah. The client got awesome work. It got done on time, miraculously. Yeah, everything worked out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I assume then you kind of slowly introduce that to the rest of your business.
Yeah, that's right. So this became the answer. We realized this was the answer for not just how do we stay profitable, but also how do we compensate employees better and more tied to performance. I've always been a huge fan of pay for performance as a model, and so it's a tool that we actually have been sculpting in the past, and we realized, oh wow, slices is pay for performance. So let's combine those ideas, and now our tool that we're building is called Slice Master. It basically helps run and operate slices for you. So um, yeah, if I could tell this short story, it was one of the designers that came in. He was just starting off his own portfolio and trying to grow his business. And he said, James, if I could make 50 to 60K a year, I'd be really happy. And at the time we didn't have, budget to pay that salary. That's around, what we would pay a designer at the time. And um, in his first year, I think he cleared 80K. Second year, maybe surpassed 100K. And now he consistently is above 120, 140K. I would never have been able to hire a designer for 120, 140K in the past. But setting up the system where it's performance based, the answer is yeah. If you can do the work and keep it at a high quality, keep taking on more slices. Do as many of those slices as you want. And he was, of course, one of the ways that he was able to earn so much is he was able to get other slices too. So he's able to do account management and strategy, maybe even sell. And then all of a sudden he's taking on kind of entire projects on his own, which is fantastic. And then we get a cut of that. It's still under our umbrella. We still, maintain and run and manage those. So, yeah, it's been fantastic.
So how do you it's such a mind shift, I think, to go from billable hours to fixed monthly price and revenue share with subcontractors. Um, and I'm sure, I got all these questions in my head, but like, how do you make that work? Like so in my business, I'm in the accounting services space. So we can bill fixed price or we can bill hourly. And we've gone back and forth. We've done it both ways. And we currently are in the hourly model because when we're in the fixed price model, we had tremendous scope creep problems to manage and we could never really get it to work in a win-win-win situation in a fixed price model. So we reverted back to the old school hourly billing. And we may toy with fixed price again, but I'm just kind of curious, like how do you make it work?
I think one of the key ways that was helpful for us in transitioning to this new model was that subsidiary that we created was really focused on lower budget projects that were very systematized. And so you're buying a light brand, a website, some combination of both, and then we're creating these this productization, this suite of services. So I would suggest the same thing for any professional service firm, including accounting. In fact, our accountant, our CFO, we use a fractional CFO, and which I rave. I'm all for fractional CFOs, and he runs his firm on the slices model. So he's adopted a version of this, and we've been working together on it. So he's very aware of it. But we have a combined, when we work with him, he works on a combined kind of hourly and project fee. So we have probably a third of the work that we do is very regular and it's very project oriented. And then there's always kind of miscellaneous things that happen. But even in that hourly, employees that you have know what their billable hour is. They know what they're charging a client for that hour, and they know what they get paid for that hour. And so there's these other slices that are built in: the cost of operations, cost for new business and sales, and then you can incentivize employees to do other parts of the work if they needed to. So be the client liaison or do the administrative back end, or get rewarded for some of the profit as a partner. In fact, so lots of different ways that you can do it.
Cool. And
Yeah.
you've mentioned slices, and I know we've spoken before, so I can kind of deduce what slices might
Sure.
refer to. But like, where did the name come from?
Yeah. So slicing the pie, slicing. I'm a big fan of pizza, and so I have a background in food, and so it happens to be that a lot of the things that we name and create happens to be very food related. And so Figmints is the agency, and Fig, like the fruit mints, like the candy.
So I'm trying to grow fig trees in my garden, but I'm not having
Nice.
much luck yet. But next summer, hopefully, I will get.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The weather has to be kind of just right to make figs work. Um, and yeah, and so slices, be knowing that when you slice up a pizza, you can slice it a million ways. You've seen those memes of, the when you're at like in a classroom and you're slicing pizza you get one pizza for the whole class, and you have a slice that's like super thin. You can slice it as thin as you want, but you're not going to get more pizza out of the box, right? You got one whole pizza, you got 100%, and you got that much to give, and so that if we're increasing one slice, that means we're decreasing another one. That's a principle that is core to how slices works.
And do you work with other methodologies?
Yeah, yeah, great question. So, if you can see behind me, I'm a Kool-Aid drinker of EOS. I'm a big fan of the traction model, and uh, also great game of business. I think is a fantastic model, and they both certainly have um, their fingerprints on how I've tried to create a little bit of the slices ecosystem and the infrastructure. But I've been a huge fan of both of those.
What is it about those that that has resonated with you?
Yeah, good question. So for EOS, I've I'm a part of a few different CEO roundtable groups, and there are all there are always issues that come up that are pretty similar to everybody else's issues. And if you've been around long enough, you hear the kind of the same issues over and over again. And I'd say 4 out of 5 times the solution to that issue is, oh, you don't have the proper systems in place. You're not communicating it well. You haven't established ground rules of how the business should operate. And and Gino Wickman does a great job in the book in Traction talking about if you don't have every company has an operating system, some of them on purpose and some of them by accident.
Yes.
And if you have them by accident, you're going to run into a lot of issues.
Yeah. Just like every business has a culture.
Yeah, one that you've created or one that, yeah, just happened happened to exist. You let happen basically. Yeah, so I love systems that seem to be a great starting point, be a great base for most businesses because they kind of struggle with the same thing. So for EOS, it's just an amazing model as an operating system. It checks a lot of boxes for how a company should set ground rules in mission, vision, core values. How do you meet? How do you establish a team? How do you set goals and progress forward? All of those things are critical for a healthy business, I believe. And so I think EOS does a really good job around that. Some of the things that it's missing is how do I pay people well? How do I develop a system to incentivize employees? How do I bonus them? So I think Slices kind of gets added in as a hey, these are great answers for how a company can do those parts.
Yeah. So tell me more. How do you layer slices on top of EOS?
Sure. Yeah, so compensation is a big part of it. We've started to transition to have every employee, and to be honest with you, not every employee on our team has slices. We'd love. We're working very hard towards that future, but some executive assistants and some administrative responsibilities are still very hourly. It makes sense to have them hourly. But every project related or production related individual, we're really working hard to make that more slices focused. So that's how we charge the client. So we charge a client, $500, $1,000 to do this project. That means we have this percentage to get that work done. That means, and we have this percentage to manage the client and client relationship, answer the questions, make sure that the work is getting done on time. Um, we have to pay a commission to whoever sold it. We want to obviously reserve some for our operations budget and our profit. So all of those kind of slices are built into projects of $500 and $50,000 that, all across the board. So again, I think that's a little missing. The financial management piece is a little missing in the EOS ecosystem. So that's a good plug into that.
Yeah. The other thing that might be missing or a little bit light maybe is on the strategy front. Like they have that question, like what are the three what do they call it? Like the three differentiators or something in the BTO, right?
Yeah, three uniques.
Yeah, three
Yeah.
uniques, right? And so I feel like there's a little bit of strategy that's missing in EOS too. Like what is it that you're consciously deciding to do that's different from your competitors that really resonates with your target market?
Yeah.
That's the other thing that EOS is great. I've run on EOS before. I do feel like
Yeah.
there's a couple things missing, and I think strategy is maybe one of those.
Yeah, I agree. As a marketing professional, I would also say there's a whole marketing section of EOS and it is pretty skimp. The three uniques, the guarantee, I think is a part of
Yep,
that.
yep.
But for us as a marketing firm, I like having the visual of a funnel. And so we usually tack that on when I'm coaching a company through EOS. I'll usually add on, hey, let's talk more about the funnel and what are the campaigns that we have going on and where do we envision um, the i- the individuals that we're talking to at the top end, what stages are they going to go through? How do they become raving fans at the end? I think that's a much better illustration of what your marketing program should look like.
And Raving Fans is interesting. That's a whole book. I assume you referenced that on purpose, right, James?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
That's something I learned when I was, I was probably 24, 25 years old when I learned about Raving Fans. But
Yeah.
yeah, another great book. We're throwing around all these terms and books and structures, but Raving Fans,
Yeah,
good.
probably a lot like you. When I went into business, I didn't realize I would love business so much. I didn't set out to run a business. It was I had a trade, and it's like, oh, I have a bunch of clients now, and maybe I should hang a shingle and quit my job. And I happened to do that, and I really fell in love with business itself. I fell in love with the game of it. I love the levers, all the levers that you get to pull, and then impacting people's lives, both internally, externally for clients as a service firm, but the team that you get to build, yeah, it's been fantastic.
So you didn't set out in your career to run a business. It just kind of developed, or how did that work? What were the milestones?
Yeah, I guess so. So I started my career as a designer. I actually started in culinary, and so that's where my food background comes from.
What style of food?
You learn everything, when you do a culinary degree, and you learn how to chop vegetables, and that's applicable to any cuisine. But I really enjoy cooking Italian, French, American. I wish I knew how to cook more Korean. I'm Korean. My parents never taught me how to cook anything in Korean. I enjoy Korean food very much, but my wife is a way better Korean cook than I am, and she's not Korean. So that's the world I live in. So, but I went into culinary because I love creativity and I love making things. I do like business. And so I thought, yeah, restaurant, this is it. I love this. And turns out you don't get to be as creative in a kitchen as you think you get to be. It's a lot more about consistency and more about, yeah, making not a lot of money for a long time before you get to actually be creative. And so, got to work on a degree in graphic design, worked on a master of fine art in graphic design. And then when I stepped into the industry, I'm a digital first type of person. I love technology. I'm always trying to stay ahead of, what technology is doing. And um, at the time in the world of digital design, there was no such thing as a user interface, user experience role. But that was the role that I found myself in. I was designing digital experiences. I was employee number 5 at CVS.com. So I helped them launch their first responsive site. Back when there was only 5 of us on the team. So I think there's about 500 people now managing CVS.com. They have 4 million users a day.
So this is CVS the pharmacy. This is a
CVS
big.
the pharmacy,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Their headquarters, for some reason, is here in Rhode
Yep.
Island, and so, I think many executives have done their stint at CVS for a little bit. But yeah, I got to just kind of understand what user interface, user experience really means. Like taking every individual and trying to funnel them into the proper call to action that we want them to get to. Um, and I was able to kind of think strategically about design, from early on, and had a few clients, had enough clients where I needed to go part time in my job because I was making more money taking on those clients on the side. And then we did the math, and um, I convinced my partner to quit school, and I quit my job, and we set out and we said, yeah, well, I think we'll do like a quarter million our first year. And so um, that was the math I had, and we hit that number in July of our first year, finished the year almost at 500,000, and well, that was great. We were very excited. Hired a few people along the way, and then the next few months we had to pay something called taxes I'd never heard of, and we almost went out of business. I remember made payroll, paid taxes. We had $347 in the bank account, and I got really scared. And I'm a person of faith, and so I prayed a lot more during that time. Got everybody to pray for us, and just realized, you know what, this is God's business. God, if you want this business shut down, we'll shut it down. And I've learned a lot, and this is great. And I guess God wanted us to continue because we were able to close a few things, and we got really serious about our numbers, and we hired a fractional CFO, and yeah, and now and we've been growing about 20% year over year. I think we got to about the $3 million mark as an agency, but some of the things that we did on the side, like building products, has been able to scale as well. One of the products that we built sold for almost 9 figures, which was exciting, and got to hold on to some founder equity for that. So yeah, it's been a wild journey to think through kind of the design world digitally, through a decade and a half of running the agency. But it was that business. That's a super long answer of um, getting to the stage of almost going out of business, learning a lot about business through hard times, and then learning, yeah, wow, I really like not just doing the work. I like building the team. I like selling. I like that business has all these levers, and I'm I'm at, I'd say, the bottom 10%. I mean, we're such a small firm compared to these massive firms. Other business just continues to grow. There's more things that I'm not aware of, like doing an IPO and raising uh, millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars, and there's so many other things. There's so many layers to business, and it's fun, even at this stage.
Yeah. So, um, you mentioned you're a man of faith, and I'm very curious how you go about incorporating that into your business. Because I've always
Yeah,
been kind of, we all have our beliefs and our faiths, and we're all different. And I've always been a little bit nervous about introducing personal beliefs, political beliefs, religious beliefs
sure.
into my business because I feel like I've always kind of felt like that only can go poorly. You're only going to alienate people. But I know people who've done it successfully, and you
Sure.
seem like you've done it successfully. And so I'm just kind of curious how you went about incorporating that in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big part of me as an individual, and I didn't know about this when I started the business. I wish I did. Maybe I would have skipped some headaches or more headaches, but found this organization quickly. It's called C12. It's a CEO roundtable group for faith-based business owners.
So I'm going to give a shout out to John Dudley, who we're both friends with.
That's right. Yeah, John Dudley is a member. I've been a member longer than John, but I deeply appreciate John's strategic ability. One of the most strategic guys I know. And yeah, if you're familiar with, or if your listeners are familiar with Vistage, Vistage is a CEO roundtable group that's been around for a long time. This gentleman named Buck Jacobs, it's almost 30 years, or more than 30 years ago now. He liked Vistage, but wanted a faith component to it, and so started C12. And so the model is very similar. It's a monthly meeting. We meet one day a month, and you have the same cohort, the same, 10 to 12 people around the table that um, are going deeper in their businesses, going deeper in their, relationships, and getting to know each other, being able to pour into each other and suggest things. But doing that from a faith perspective, I think is critical for me as a believer, as a person of faith. So yeah, it's been monumental for us, and I would say the thing that I've learned in C12, the stat that keeps jumping out is um, a stat done by it was a survey done by Barna, which is it's a pretty big institute of collecting data and analytics, and they surveyed, I think, 10, 50, 10 to 20,000, something like that, lots and lots of businesses. And the question was, would you rather do business with a with a business that proclaims faith, with a faith-based business, Or would you want to do business? Would you not want to do business? Or does it not matter to you? That was the question, basically. And so the numbers came back. 11 out of 14 said that they would prefer to do business with a company that proclaims faith, that talks about their faith. 2 out of 14 say they don't care, and 1 out of 14 say they prefer not to. Which is really interesting because from a marketing perspective, that just means we should just put faith. If that's true, let's put it out on the windowsill, right? And we're afraid of that of 1 out of 14, and it are actually alienating the 11 out of 14. And so, I would encourage you and any listener who is thinking about that and thinking about, incorporating their faith a little bit more in their business. This is a stamp of marketing approval that this is data backed, and it's probably a good thing to do.
Very interesting. So you started out in a marketing agency and then
Yeah,
developed this financial management SOP
yeah,
around slices, right? Like,
sure.
what was that like? Like, how did you go about figuring out you needed this financial management solution? Like how did you come up with it, I guess, right? I mean, it's very unusual. I never talked to a marketing agency
Yeah.
owner and they've like come up with a financial management strategy. Like what you've done is unique. Everybody's worried about marketing. You came up with like a financial strategy.
Yeah, again, I really love the pay for performance methodology. The idea that, and this is a story from a friend of mine who owns a landscaping company. Um, he was really tired of paying people hourly, and essentially hourly. The hourly model is just a broken system. It just is should not exist. It just incentivizes people to take longer and do worse. It just does not. It doesn't incentivize what you want, which is do it fast, do it well. So a friend of mine, he with the landscaping business, instead of paying people hourly, he paid them for every yard of mulch that they laid. Um, and he calculated and said, okay, well, a normal person, or, I can imagine somebody laying this many yards of mulch every hour, or around this time. Lo and behold, he had about a third of his guys do the same. A third of his guys did way better, and a third of his guys did way worse. So they were making less than they would have made. But the guys who made less, they were offset by the guys who made more. So some people, like, they didn't want to do more, or like they didn't have the time, or they wanted to stop where they were at. He would qualify that around the quality at the end, and this way is way better. Pay the person doing more of the better work. Um, Pay them as much as you possibly can, right? They want to get paid as much as they possibly can. So you're almost treating those employees like giving them a little bit of a business mindset, and I think that's just helpful for everybody involved. If I can pay, this always happens when we were in a classic hourly model. We would have our cash cow employees who were super high billable. They were super efficient, and then we can never keep them because they would leave and try to get more money somewhere else, and we couldn't do it. And then the people who are just kind of scraping by and doing the average, they're the ones who stayed the longest, or like they wound up staying staying a long time because it was safe, for them. And so being able to create a system where you can really see very objectively, how are people doing? Are they doing well? Are they keeping up with the salary that they have? That's and you've created the system to teach them and help them win. It's great. They have an unlimited, no ceiling to what they could possibly make.
So you developed this system for your own business, and then I assume you're consulting with other marketing agencies as well these days.
Yeah, so coaching about a half a dozen agencies, and that's what we're working on right now. we're trying to teach this in a cohort setting. And so the next cohort is coming out in a little while. So probably the time you were recording, we usually have about 6 open seats in every cohort, and the next one's coming out soon. So um, yeah, take on a few agencies, walk through them side by side through the small group, and we walk through how their financing works now, how their compensation systems work now. A lot of agencies, they may start small, just in the kind of on the bonuses side, which I think is a great way to start. That's where our software actually, we're starting on the bonuses side just to do bonuses, which I think is good. And some people just think of bonuses as a way to create a pay for performance system, right? Like if you hit these goals, if you hit these metrics, then here's some added dollar figure that we can put on top of your salary. I think that's good, but it would be better if their entire compensation was based on some sort of performance level. So yeah, that's the cohort-based system is coming out. That's one of the offers. If somebody's listening and wants to know more about that, they can certainly contact me and get involved in the next cohort. But that's the program that we have to train agencies and professional service companies.
Yeah, so tell me more about the program, and if somebody
Sure.
is curious about how it works, how does it work?
Yeah. So every other week, we get together for about a 90-minute session where we'll live workshop the different stages of the slices model. So basically, the program is split up into the actual slices. So we'll talk about sales composition, for example, or fulfillment, or where to get fulfillment, how do we do it, how do we track it, and then we'll give a little bit of insight around kind of the master spreadsheet on if you wanted to implement this quickly. I think the spreadsheet is great. That is temporary until we have the complete software in place. Then people can jump on and just set up the software. But yeah, and then in the in between weeks, so we have those live working sessions, and the in between weeks become more of a Q&A. And so we are meeting weekly. They get um, a little bit of cohort based encouragement. So hey, you guys are in the same industry around this. You should talk to each other about how you're doing these things. Or um, a lot of times the cohorts might meet separately to discuss, hey, we're thinking about doing this foot in the door offer, and how do we price that properly, and how do we pay people properly, and what are we paying them. And so there's a little bit of workshopping that happens, but you graduate after those first 2 or 3 months and become proficient in rolling it out. And then we can, come alongside you and continue to build it out, or help one-on-one along the way.
How long did it take you to figure out that you should be helping other agency owners with this financial model? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Well, our mission is to help people thrive using business as a catalyst, and that is that's at the core. Who I am as a person. It's what breaks my heart. Can I share this story, Cal, of our mission statement?
Definitely, yeah.
So it comes from Chariots of Fire. Have you seen this movie?
That's he's a runner.
Yeah, yeah, the two runners, Olympic runners. So there's the story is about two Olympic runners. One of them is kind of disregards his relationships and just is going after the gold medal. And then the second runner, his name's Eric Little. He's a missionary, and he's running, because he's he believes he's built to run fast. So the kind of culmination, the quote is between him and his sister in the movie, and they're about to go on this mission trip, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna run in the Olympics." And she's like, "Listen, I know you want to run in the Olympics and win this medal." And he's like, "Whoa, whoa, wait! I don't want to win just because I don't want to race because I can win. I want to race because when I run fast, I feel God's pleasure. I feel like I'm doing the thing I was made to do. That feeling, I want everybody to get that feeling. And I'd say the vast majority of people don't feel that. And I feel that. I feel like I'm living in my calling, which is a gift in my opinion. But also it's a gift that can be found. So you can find your calling. You can do that. And most businesses, I feel like they don't feel that. Um, wow, I'm feeling like I'm running on all cylinders.
That's the challenge, James. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I love what I do most days, but there's some days it just sucks.
Oh, it's a grind for sure.
You just gotta remember, like, what are you doing this for? Who you trying to help?
That's right. Cal, can I ask you, what's your, do you have that why?
Well, my why, like, I've been blessed, I guess, in most of my career. I've been in jobs or companies where um, learning is a big part of it. Like, I work with so many different companies, so many different industries, so many different business models. Um, every day I go to most days, not a see, the days that get me down are days when I feel like I'm not, like, learning anything or experiencing
Mm,
anything new. But most days, I'm excited because, like, my clients are doing exciting things. Maybe they need somebody to do some analysis and help them understand the financial story behind their business. But I feel like most days, I can go to work and I'm excited because I get to learn something or I get to teach something. The days that I'm, like, bummed out and bored, they're days those days are, like, days that, feel like I'm just not learning anything. And I'm, kinda stuck in a rut. So for me, it's, like, all about learning and growing and figuring out how to apply knowledge to solve a problem. So that's what really gets me
yeah,
be excited. Yeah.
and that's why you one of the reasons I'm sure why you started a podcast is, talk to
Yeah.
more interesting people and learn from them and hear from them. So, yeah, I commend you for doing that. I think that's a perfect way to satiate that and, scratch that itch a little bit. Uh, I think for most individuals, they don't get as far as you come to, working in a field that they really like. I think business unlocks this for a lot of people. And I think people get stuck because business is complicated. And certainly from a financial perspective, from a marketing perspective, how do I grow? Where are my next clients going to come from? Those are pain points that many people have. And so, um, that's what has driven me is helping people understand that, unlock those doors, unlock those mysteries for them. Like, hey, this is a great path. Let's try this. Let's put these systems in place so that your marketing could run more efficiently, more effectively.
So,
Yeah.
James, if folks wanna reach out to you, you're a genuine guy, can tell you really wanna help people,
Yeah.
what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, several ways. LinkedIn is great. I check those still myself, so I'm on LinkedIn all the time. So you can find me at LinkedIn. My username is Jamkwon, JamKWon. If you find our website Figmints .com, Figmints, you can reach out to me. It's James at Figmints.com. That one does get screened, so it may not be the fastest way to get to me, but you can. I still see those, and you can absolutely send those to me. And yeah, or send a note on the website. Those will get to me too. We're not gigantic, so there are only two or three other people that will see it. So yeah, this has been super fun to do, Cal. I'm curious to know. Yeah, I didn't hear your thoughts on slices. Like how where you think it could be served best. And so before we go, can I get
Oh,
your thoughts on those? Yeah.
I think the slices concept and the profit first concept more broadly, it's incredible. It's really important.
Mhm.
I think when I work with a client, like it starts with a business model and you want to know for 100% of revenue, what percent do you have to spend on cost of goods sold and what percent do you have to spend on, direct labor and what percent do you spend on marketing and sales to acquire the business and what percent do you have to spend on G&A overhead and how much profit do you have left over? It's like, it's just a methodical process. So I love it. The one hang up I sometimes have with profit first is it seems to like you to open up a bunch of different bank accounts and spend a lot of time moving cash between bank accounts. And so I think your time is probably better spent trying to figure out how to manage profit margins rather than move cash around. So that's my
Mhm.
only critique of the profit first methodology. But in general, it makes perfect sense. Like you're trying to run a business, you need to know where your money's going and what, well, by your name, what slice goes to profit, what slice goes to marketing and overhead,
Sure.
what slice goes to direct labor, right? So it
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. And so I like the name, um, and I like the approach. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to continue to work on it, keep getting your thoughts on it. For somebody who is aware of our industry as well as you are, but come at it from a financial perspective, obviously, love to keep you in the mix of how things are going with slices.
Yeah, and hopefully there's some people in the audience that well, I don't want anybody to feel any pain, but if you're feeling pain around
Sure.
financial management and figuring out how to
Yeah.
improve profitability, if you are feeling some of that pain, then James would be a great person to reach out to, or reach out to me. We can help you figure out what the profit model is for your agency and how we can get you
Love it.
feel a little more financially comfortable. But
Yeah.
James, outside of work, what do you like to do outside of work?
I am typically spending time with my family or golfing. Those are the two those are the two things I have time for now. So, uh, golf is kind of an endless, terrible, mysterious game, and, it is so difficult,
I
so
like how you put that. I went through a phase where I golfed a lot in my mid-20s, but I never was very good, and it always was a struggle, and I'm like, "Why am I doing this to myself?"
0 yeah, there are 0 go there might be, even Tiger Woods is, like, the greatest golfer of all time. There's, like, a million misses and, just there's no time where he's hit 18 birdies in a row. You can't do it. It's impossible.
No.
Um, and it keeps bringing you back. Michael Jordan said it's the greatest sport he's ever played.
It's wild. That's wild. He's such a competitive, Michael Jordan is. I can't believe he likes
Yeah.
golf. People that were
N
incredible competitors,
He's obsessed. Yeah, he's obsessed with golf.
I mean, I guess he got plenty of time to play golf, but,
And you get to play for, like, 40, 50 years. That's also it's also a sport where you can drive around and drink and smoke cigars and while you're playing a sport. That's also kind of crazy. Very unique. There's a lot of uniques about golf,
yeah,
so,
they're not very much like that and, like, I guess skiing, you can come in and have a couple beers at lunch when you go skiing, but, like, golf and skiing, like, it's acceptable to smoke and drink while you're doing it, I guess.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, like, there's some point where you can't ski anymore. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't think I can do this anymore."
Honey.
I went snowboarding not too long ago after taking a 5-year break, and, yeah, I thought I needed new hips. I thought I was gonna die. Physically excruciating.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm getting a little older myself and starting to have those aches and pains,
Feel it.
hey, James, I really appreciate you spending the time and
Sure.
sharing your journey with the audience here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Cal. Thanks for everybody.
Yeah. So for those listening, if you learned something today, you just enjoyed the conversation, please, spread the word about this podcast. Let's get it out in the hands of as many people as possible. So thanks again, James.
Thanks so much.
So this has been another exciting episode of the Marketing Agency Power Hour. We'll see you all next time. Another episode in the books. Thank you so much for tuning in. For show notes and more, please visit marketingagencypowerhour.com. This show is sponsored by SmartBooks, providing marketing agencies with bookkeeping, accounting, and finance support. With SmartBooks, you gain the clarity and confidence to make your agency a success. Until next time,